Welcome to the new Peugeot 308. It's been a long time coming, but this is a good looking hatch, and I love to see a hatch on the channel because, you know what, there's not as many of them around as there used to be. There's not as many of them around as there needs to be. We've got tiger claw fronts, we've got the new branding on the front of this vehicle. I've had a good spin in this down to Glasson today in Athlone from Dublin, so I've really put the car through its paces. This is a plug-in hybrid version of it, but you can get petrol, you can get diesel. There'll probably be an electric version coming along soon. 31,000 up to 48,000 if you go for a plug-in hybrid GT version of it with 225 brake horsepower. This one is a 180. I'm actually going to chuck the keys into the car because it's going to keep locking and closing and beeping if I don't do so. But it's also a good way of me saying to you that yes, there's keyless entry on certain models. So what do we think of the looks of it? I mean, it is a really good looking car, particularly in this blue colour. There's a lovely green, you can get it in white. I'm just surrounded by 308s today. These are GT upgraded alloy wheels. I think over the back, the C-pillar, we're getting 1 Series vibes. It's a nice low roof line, black privacy glass, depending again on model you go for, but side profile again, it's like I love the new branding, little black badges. There's an air of class to it, no doubt. We'll get to what it's like to drive, we'll get to the interior. There's actually been a few different tweaks since the latest generation of Peugeots on the inside as well. If you decide that hybrid is for you, you'll get a hybrid badge on the back that tells everyone that you're trying to be a little bit better for the environment. The boot release is just tucked away under that sort of black strip that goes across. Gorgeous lighting setup. Your boot space, there is a little bit of storage down below for cables because again, if you get the plug-in hybrid version of it, you will be plugging it in, you will have cables. It is 470 litres if you go for a non-plug-in version of the car, so plenty of space. It's also, like, it essentially is kind of a ground-up car in terms of being a hybrid as well, because it's been designed with both petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrid in mind. So it's not like it's been a petrol and diesel for ages and then they decided, oh, let's put a battery into it. It's always been designed and that way intended. Back of the 308, it does get a little bit snug depending on how much legroom you're going to need. Thankfully, they put cutouts at the back of the driver and passenger seats to give you a bit of space for the knees. But if you want thigh support and to be able to fit your feet under the seat, it's not quite possible to do both, I'm afraid. 2 USB-C charging points, air vents down here, a little bit of storage for things. Also in the armrest, I like that they've put a little bit of storage for a phone like that. It's not quite at an angle that you could watch something, although you could probably do that. You know, also if your drinks are too big, too small, you can remove that. I like seeing little clever gadgets. I like seeing things in cars that people have actually, they've thought of. You know, someone has said, how can we make life easier for a passenger? Nets on the back of the seats, they don't even charge you for it. Head height is good. Main thing to check out when you sit into one of these cars in the showroom is just see, is there going to be enough space for my legs? That's the main thing that I think could be a pinch point for you. Want to talk about charging if you're thinking about the plug-in hybrid version of the car, so let's go back outside and discuss. So it's a 12.4 kilowatt hour battery. They'll give you an 8-year warranty on that, up to 70% of the original capacity of the battery. That will do a range of about 50 kilometers. You can spec an optional faster onboard setup. And what that means is you'll be able to charge at 7.2 kilowatts using a wall box. The standard car is 3.4. Go for 3.4, it'll take you about 3 hours to charge to 50 kilometers from zero. If you go for the faster option, you'll do it in about 1 hour 55 minutes. And that will, as I said, get you a range of about 50 kilometers, depends where you drive it. Is it on a motorway? Will it be around city centre traffic? And you can set departure times, you can have the car preconditioned to leave at that time with terms of heated seats and all that stuff, heated steering wheel, have the aircon on, and also if you want to charge overnight for night rates or whatever that is, you can set all that up in the car in the infotainment system. Active, Allure and GT are the 3 trim levels that you can get. Now they have slightly tweaked some things inside the car. Don't worry, there's still shortcut buttons for everything, so that's good. Like directly into them, car options, press a button, it works. Aircon, press a button, there's your aircon, it's all there. You can mess with your steering wheel heating, preconditioning, all there. This seems kind of familiar-ish. You've got sliding covers for keeping things private in there. You've got good armrest space down here. There's an additional USB-C, so there's no USB charging options. It's just USB-C. The little gear shifter is straight out of what PSA are doing with Opel, and obviously Peugeot now as well, and Citroen. So you've got your drive modes, the Sport, which uses all of the power. You've got hybrid, which will use a combination, and electric mode that will run on fully electric silent mode once you have charged in the car. So you've got 180 brake horsepower. You've got starting options from 130 brake horsepower. It's just great to have so many different fuel options, really, because not everyone's ready for electric, not everyone wants to go petrol just yet, for whatever reason. But I can't imagine diesel's going to be a massive seller in the car, but it's good to have it as an option. And then further shortcut buttons, they're digital, but again, you just touch them. They're always there at the bottom of the screen. So it's quite easy to use. Software seems pretty good. There was one occasion coming down today when I just couldn't get the CarPlay to sync up with the phone, and then the display here, because the iCockpit is still very much part of it, had a kind of a weird okay question mark. Maybe just asking me, am I okay? But it seems to be gone now. I'm still okay with the steering wheel. Once you adjust it and you adjust your seat, and there's loads of options for both, you should be able to see the screen. And I like it. I like the fact that you can change the displays very, very easily. It's still a lovely finish and fit out, and I can't identify any cost savings that have gone on. There is a little caveat with the press brief today. If you want particular options that may not be available just due to supply issues at the moment, talk to your dealer about that. They've even done away with the kind of annoying left-hand drive priority to the USB charging points. They're down here now. So, you know, all those little quirks that may have annoyed you, they've ironed out and they're gone from the 308. The only thing that, you know, is love or hate is this steering wheel. They've refreshed the buttons on either side as well. Radar Cruise has worked particularly well today. I've really enjoyed the car. It drives well, it handles well, and I think we can all agree that it looks really well. €31,765, that is for an Active. So that's a 1.2 petrol, 1.5 Blue HDI diesel. The hybrid PHEV, 180 brake horsepower and 225 brake horsepower. Everything is 8-speed on automatic gearboxes, okay? So everything. So that you've got Active, Allure and GT, which is this version of the car. So again, plenty of options, like the combination of different colours. You get it in a sports wagon or a station wagon, depending whatever way you want to call it. Maybe you just want to call it an estate. That is fine. Just want to know, will we get a PSE version of the 308? Because that could be very, very exciting. And if the 508 gets it, there's no reason why it shouldn't. And then we're kind of getting back to the hot hatch days of 306 GTIs. Kind of. Anyway, let's go for a spin. So well done if you spotted or bothered to care that I'm wearing a different shirt, because this is day 2 of living with the new 308, and this is the driving aspect of it. Now, just for context, I've driven the car from Dublin to Athlone and Athlone back to Dublin, and now I'm in the suburbs. So I've had nearly 300 kilometers worth of driving in the car, so getting kind of a good feel of what it's like to actually be behind the wheel of the car, various different speeds, weather conditions, and it's very, very planted. It handles very, very well. In the wet, I did get some wheel hop if you're pulling away from a stop, maybe with a bit of harsh acceleration. Feedback from the steering, I guess, is a little dull. I'd love to have just a bit more engagement from that. I mean, it's very light, and you know, it's easy to maneuver around town if that's the big draw for you. Speaking of steering, it's the first time, I can't believe this, it's the first time a Peugeot has a heated steering wheel in the car, which is kind of mad. So by 2025, they will have an electric or a PHEV version of every variant they have. That includes, in some cases they already have it in the 3008, but we'll see cars using different platforms now that are available to Peugeot through Stellantis, including up to a battery of 800 kilometers, and that's not 5 years away. That's kind of you know, a bit closer to home in terms of time. So electrification is certainly a big thing for the company. 308, a massive seller in Europe for this particular segment, the C segment of car. So they expect it to be, you know, do very well in this. Also learned that there will be no right-hand drive manual version of this car. So the UK and Ireland will only get automatic gearboxes. You won't be able to get manual. And that will push the price up compared to a Golf if you're talking manual Golf, automatic 308. If you're talking automatic Golf versus automatic this, then the price gap is a lot more tight. But it is a point that was raised when we had a bit of a press briefing last night. Like all hybrids, plug-in hybrids, you've got to charge it. If you do that, you're going to probably get somewhere like 2 litres per 100 kilometres. But in this petrol hybrid version of the car, really not taking it easy at all, 7 litres per 100 kilometres was the average fuel consumption over a range of about 350 kilometres. And that's including topping up the charge. So you can hold some charge into the car and you can charge it on the go if you like. Obviously use the petrol engine to charge the battery, but it can be done. Another thing that was pointed out to me last night is the fuse box that has plagued all PSA cars has been moved. So the glove box is actually quite usable. Impressive. Nice one. Thankfully they got rid of the ridiculous stock for cruise control behind the steering wheel, so you got the buttons on the steering wheel now. Way safer, way easier to use, and yeah, just a better decision. Largest wheel size, 18-inch alloy wheels. Couple of reasons: CO2, ride comfort. They're aiming to be able to provide a spare wheel retrospectively, not from the factory. Again, CO2 is involved, but I do think there's an awful lot of people that would much rather have a spare wheel in the boot, and Peugeot are recognising that. Quite a, you know, on the 18-inch upgraded wheels with the low enough profile tyres. Ride comfort is pretty good. It's firm enough, but never uncomfortable. Bit of noise off the tyres, particularly if you're in electric mode. You don't really hear it. Which, by the way, seems to be able to. I was up at 120 kilometers an hour on a motorway, and it was still in electric mode. So that was impressive. How much it did not need the petrol engine to kick in at all, even at that speed. Now, look. It went from 8 kilometers to 4 in seconds because it was motorway speed, but it is possible. So I am impressed. Is it a worthy competitor for the Golf? Absolutely. Not quite sure the priority for the Golf anyway with Volkswagen. I mean, I do see an awful lot of new ones on the road still, but obviously everything there is focused on ID3 in that segment for them. Will the Golf survive forever? It's kind of hard to know. Will the C segment survive in many different brands? Hard to know, but I think the ones that do it best will survive. And there's also new Astra coming as well, which is going to be on the same platform to this car. So it ain't going away just yet. Cool looking car, gauging enough to drive. Would like a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel. Relatively cheap to run. Loads of cool infotainment, connected in loads of ways. App, be able to get updates on the app over the air. They've thought a lot. I love the way the traffic integration is with TomTom, so you're getting real-time traffic, and it gave me the exact time I'd be at my destination in Dublin, having left Athlone, and it was very early in the morning, but the point is the route that was calculated and the time that it said I was going to be there for was spot on. So there's a lot of connectivity going on in this car that actually seems to do a job very, very well. Also, since I filmed yesterday, I mentioned PSE, and then I heard some rumours from people that, yeah, they haven't ruled it out. That would be cool. There's no point, in my opinion anyway, when people, you know, our age, depending on how old you are watching this, if you want people to continue to have passion about a car brand, just having an electric option, I don't think it's going to do it. So those 306 GTIs and stuff that I mentioned, you could still potentially be a customer of the new 308, and if there's something like a PSE in it to attract you into the car, make you passionate about it, make it feel like you're 20 again, and you're borrowing your older brother's mate's car, or whatever it is, you're going for a spin in it, I still think there's room for that. And maybe not at the younger end of the buying public, but people sort of 35 onwards, I think they'll always lust after a Golf GTI, or a 306 GTI, or a 205 GTI. And if that's lost, then in my opinion that's kind of sad. So to hear the Peugeot are thinking about a PSE in the 308 is actually quite exciting. This is a very exciting car from Peugeot. I think it's right place, right time. Golf doesn't know what it's doing because you've got ID3. Astra's about to come out as well. You've got the Corolla still being one of Ireland's best-selling cars. So there is a market for this type of car. There's no doubt about it. Yes, it's very spicy at the top end of the 40,000 euro, but then again at 31,000 euro, there's actually quite a bit of value in it. So it's entirely up to you where you want to set that price level and spec level for yourself. But I like the looks of it. I like the interior of it. It's got, you know, a usable enough electric range if you want to go for it. Great, they have diesel options. First impressions, good looking car, drives well, worth a look, worth a shortlist if you're after a cool hatch in 2022. Any comments, questions, thoughts, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. All that kind of stuff that just helps us along the way. And we'll have a more thorough review of this car over the next few months when I get it for a week-long test drive. This has just been kind of an initial 24 hours or so look at the car. Hope we've answered some questions for you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.